I lived in Meadows Creek. It was a place where everyone knew each other, where the days were slow and the nights were filled with the sounds of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl. The town had a charm of its own, with its old brick buildings and the single traffic light that blinked lazily at the intersection. It was a small town, but I always dreamt of a life beyond its borders. I would spend hours in my room, tracing my fingers over the globe, imagining the places I could go. The world seemed so vast, so full of possibilities, and I wanted to see it all. I spent hours in the library, devouring books about faraway cities. The library was my sanctuary, a place where I could escape into the pages of a book and travel to distant lands. I read about the bustling streets of Tokyo, the romantic canals of Venice, and the ancient ruins of Athens. Each book was a new adventure, a new place to explore. New York City fascinated me. It was a city that seemed to pulse with energy, a place where dreams were made and broken. I would watch videos online, seeing its towering skyscrapers and imagining the bustling streets below. The city seemed to have a life of its own, a rhythm that was both chaotic and beautiful. I watched videos online, seeing its towering skyscrapers and imagining the bustling streets below. The people seemed to move with purpose, each one a part of the city's grand tapestry. I could almost hear the honking of taxis, the chatter of people, and the distant hum of the subway. I collected pictures and filled a scrapbook with images of famous landmarks and vibrant city life. The Statue of Liberty, Times Square, Central Park. Each picture was a piece of the dream I was building. I would spend hours cutting out pictures from magazines, arranging them just so, and imagining what it would be like to stand in those places. I longed to experience it all firsthand. The thought of walking down Fifth Avenue, of seeing a Broadway show, of tasting a real New York bagel, it filled me with a sense of excitement and anticipation. I would pack and repack my suitcase, dreaming of the day I would finally leave Meadows Creek behind.
Emma's fascination with New York City was more than just a passing interest. It was a passion, a burning desire that consumed her thoughts and dreams. She would spend hours poring over maps, planning her route, and imagining the adventures she would have. It was a dream she held close to her heart, a dream that gave her hope and a sense of purpose. She would often find herself daydreaming, staring out the window and imagining the life she would lead in the big city, a dream that fueled her desire to explore a world beyond Meadows Creek. She knew that one day she would leave the small town behind and embark on the adventure of a lifetime. The horizon was calling, and Emma was ready to answer.
Emma always talked about the city. We'd spend hours looking at pictures. She was mesmerized by the energy. She wanted to work in fashion, and she'd sketch designs for hours. Emma dreamed of seeing her creations on a runway.
Sarah, Emma's best friend, remembered their countless conversations. She smiled, recalling Emma's determination to make her dreams a reality.
Emma was determined to make her dreams a reality.
I knew I had to leave Meadows Creek. It was a place that had nurtured me, a place where I had grown up surrounded by the warmth of familiar faces and the comfort of routine. But deep down, I felt a stirring, a restlessness that I couldn't ignore. It was a difficult decision. The thought of leaving behind everything I knew, the people who had been a part of my life for so long, was almost unbearable. Yet the pull of the unknown, the allure of new experiences, was too strong to resist. The town held my childhood memories and was filled with familiar faces. Every corner of Meadows Creek had a story, a memory etched in time. The laughter of children playing in the park, the friendly nods from neighbors, the annual town fair. All these moments were a part of me. But I yearned for something more. I wanted to explore the world beyond the boundaries of this small town. I wanted to see what lay beyond the horizon, to experience life in all its vastness and complexity. I wanted to chase my dreams, and I knew I couldn't do that in Meadows Creek. I wanted to chase my dreams, and I knew I couldn't do that in Meadows Creek. The city, with its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, called out to me. It promised opportunities, adventures, and a chance to carve out a new path for myself. The city beckoned with its promise of opportunity. The bright lights, the endless possibilities, the chance to meet new people and experience new things. It was all so enticing. I could almost feel the energy of the city, the pulse of life that ran through its streets. It was time to take a leap of faith. I packed my bags, said my goodbyes, and prepared myself for the journey ahead. It was a bittersweet moment, filled with both excitement and sadness. But I knew that this was the right decision for me.
Emma stood at a crossroads, one path leading towards a sprawling city skyline, the other towards the quaint town of her youth. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision on her shoulders, but she also felt a sense of hope, a belief that she was on the brink of something extraordinary. The other towards the quaint town of her youth. The memories of Meadows Creek would always be a part of her, a cherished chapter in her life. But now, it was time to turn the page and start a new chapter. The decision was made. The city awaited her. With a determined look in her eyes, she took her first step towards her new life, ready to embrace whatever the future held. The city was calling, and she was ready to answer.
Packing was bittersweet. Each item I placed into the suitcase brought back a flood of memories. The act of packing wasn't just about organizing my belongings, it was about saying goodbye to a chapter of my life. Every piece of clothing, every trinket, every book had a story to tell. It was like I was packing my entire life into that suitcase, and it felt heavy, not just in weight but in emotion. Each item held a memory, a favorite book that I read countless times, a hand-painted picture frame that held a photo of my best friend and me, a childhood toy that I couldn't bear to part with. These weren't just objects. They were pieces of my past, fragments of my identity. As I carefully placed each item into the suitcase, I felt a mix of nostalgia and anticipation. I was holding onto my past while preparing for my future. I folded my dreams into every corner of my suitcase, packing my sketchbooks and favorite fashion magazines. These were the tools of my trade, the items that fueled my creativity and passion. My sketchbooks were filled with designs and ideas that I hoped to bring to life one day. The fashion magazines were my source of inspiration, filled with the latest trends and styles. Packing these items was like packing my dreams and aspirations, the things that I hoped to achieve in the future. I left space for new experiences. I knew that my journey was just beginning, and I wanted to leave room for the new memories and experiences that I would collect along the way. The empty space in my suitcase was a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that my future was unwritten and full of possibilities. It was both exciting and terrifying, but I was ready to embrace it. Leaving Meadows Creek meant carrying my past with me, but it also meant embracing the unknown. As I walked away from the small town that had been my home for so many years, I felt a sense of sadness and excitement. I was leaving behind the familiar, the comfortable, but I was also stepping into a world of endless possibilities. The road ahead was uncertain, but I was ready to face it with courage and determination.
Emma's suitcase was filled not just with belongings, but with dreams and memories. Each item she packed was a piece of her past, a reminder of the life she was leaving behind. But it was also a promise of the future, a symbol of the new adventures that awaited her. As she packed, she felt a sense of closure and a sense of anticipation. She was ready to close one chapter and begin another. As she prepared to leave, she knew she was ready to embark on a new journey, one that held endless possibilities. The future was a blank canvas, and she was ready to paint it with her dreams and aspirations. With her suitcase packed and her heart full of hope, she took a deep breath and stepped into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever came her way. Saying goodbye was the hardest part.
Guys, I promise I'll stay in touch. I'll visit as often as I can.
Emma hugged her friends tightly. Tears welled up in her eyes. She looked at her parents. They were a mix of pride and sadness. She knew they understood her dreams.
It's every parent's dream, you know, to see your child chase their passions. But letting go is never easy.
Her voice trembled slightly.
I'm so proud of Emma. She's always had a fire in her heart. She's determined to make something of herself. I know she'll do amazing things.
Her eyes filled with tears, a proud smile on her lips. The bus pulled into the city. Emma looked out the window. She saw towering buildings that scraped the sky. The streets were a blur of activity. Excitement coursed through her veins.
This is it, my fresh start.
The city welcomed her with open arms. It was a symphony of noise and energy. It was a world away from Meadows Creek.
I found a small apartment. It overlooked a bustling street. The sounds of the city became my soundtrack. I enrolled in a design school. I spent my days learning. I spent my nights sketching. I was chasing my dreams. Every day felt like a new adventure. The city held endless possibilities.
Life in the city wasn't always easy. It was challenging. It was exhilarating. It was nothing like Meadows Creek.
I worked hard. I stayed focused on my goals. I knew that success required dedication. I embraced every challenge. I saw it as an opportunity for growth.
As time passed, Emma changed. The city had a way of shaping dreams. It had a way of shaping people.
I was no longer the girl who left Meadows Creek. I was stronger. I was more independent. I was more determined than ever. I had found my place in the world.
Emma's journey is a testament to the power of dreams. It's a reminder that we are all capable of growth. Leaving Meadows Creek was just the beginning. It was a step towards self-discovery. It was a journey of courage, determination, and the unwavering pursuit of a dream. Emma reminds us that with passion and perseverance, anything is possible.